The Ukrainian ambassador to Canada, Vadym Prystaiko, is here with us tonight. It's our pleasure to have you, Ambassador, with us. And I'd like to start with a question that relates to the theme of the Danyliw seminar. You happen to be in Canada during the most turbulent times, representing Ukraine while Ukraine has been in crisis. So I was wondering what has been the role of the embassy during the Maidan times and then later on during the war in eastern Ukraine, and how has the mandate evolved over the last half a year, let's say?
Yeah, you're right. I've been here even before during the Orange Revolution times, and now people even asking me, is something wrong with you going to Canada? As soon as you go to Canada, something happening back in Ukraine. Should you get back and then start fixing things? That's what I'm going to do now. As I told you already, I'm going to back to Kiev. The mandate of the embassy generally is the same. What we believed all these years, and with different governments, with different regimes, as people call them. We believe that we are serving Ukrainian people, and our interests as Ukrainian state are more or less the same. And these interests are general and universal. We would like to have better relations with Canada. We would like to trade as any other nation. We would like to have cultural relations, whatever you name, all the spectrum of the relations. But you're right, the events in Ukraine are changing our agenda. Now we're mostly talking about not the humanitarian or sport or educational changes. Now we have to think, how can we get Ukraine out of the crisis it's in? How can we win the war, if it is even possible to win with the all the catastrophes on our hands, people dying. You heard today how many people dead, how many people displaced, what the infrastructure like now in Ukraine, what we can do to save people from the coming winter. All these questions is my day-to-day conversations with foreign affairs, with the Canadian government, with just Canadian Ukrainian diaspora, or just Canadian community.
So talking about all these projects that are underway that have been facilitated by the Canadian government as well, and you mentioned there is a huge number of those projects that are being implemented right now. Could you mention the most important ones?
If I mention the most important ones, everybody else will think that their projects are not that important. And I truly, say that all of them are important, not because for the sake of telling the good diplomatic lie. No, there are projects which you wouldn't expect to happen. They might not be that huge, but when you try, I'll give you example. For example, when Canada promised $200 million assistance to Ukraine in cash form as a loan, people were saying, okay, 200 million is not bad, but it's not a billion which United States gave. No. Seriously, if you try to weigh who actually gave more per capita, per person, per economy, you will see that Canada was much more generous. So the same happens with Ukrainian community, for example. People are gathering like family and decide what we can do. And then they come into a brilliant idea, like to get the families of the fallen soldiers in Carpathy, to give them chance to have the vacation out of the bad thing and the bad experience they had. Sometimes they are saving these people psychologically. And then you will have another family which would go and see all these enormous victims in Maidan and decided that why wouldn't we try to get some doctors together and free of charge pro bono go and fix somebody with the amputated legs, eyes, bring these people seriously, literally to life back. So there are so many projects of this sort, so I'm not even going to discuss, but there are some things really interesting, and some of them are crazy, and you think, seriously? Then you understand that these people, they're bringing something like this project of bringing to Ukraine the e-readers. It might be strange as an idea, but imagine people alive with both legs, just young soldiers, and their life is quite bleak, the prospects are quite big, but then they were given this small reader, and now they're back connected to civilization, to society. They have something to read and spend some time and rethink their life. Such projects are really interesting.
Okay, so I hope there will be more projects like that in the future. And I'd like to end off our short interview with somewhat of a personal question. You just announced that your mission here in Canada is over. Could you please share your general impressions from being the ambassador here in Canada?
You cannot just sort of not falling in love with Canada, especially if you like winter sports. And I just happen to be this guy, and I have my family. And you know, you have all these hassles, all the problems. You still have time to enjoy the scenery. For example, we very much like, believe me, I've been around many countries around the globe, but you will never find autumn as good as here in Canada. And you have all the experiences you can. I just recently been tested for second dan in Taekwondo. I'm doing it myself. So among other things we are doing, there are some simple pleasures in life.
So hopefully you'll find a way to continue with all these sports activities once you're back in Ukraine. Good luck with everything, and once again, it's been a pleasure to have you here with us tonight.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.